COVID-19 has affected a lot of things, and one of them is the anime. There are three anime series that I've been following, but one of them is the one that I am really interested in about, and the other two, I don't really care much, especially with one. And the other third one is something that piques my interest sometimes, though sometimes it drops in that. So I've been following One Piece, Black Clover, and Boruto. And after Naruto, really Boruto so far hasn't really piqued much my interest. Black Clover is interesting, though sometimes they drag certain things, and last episodes were kind of slow paced. Whereas One Piece is the story that I've been following for the past 2 decades. So now that those anime are no longer coming on a weekly basis, I wondered what I could watch, and I watched a couple of series which were short series, and I finished them. There is one or actually two long series, and one of them is Hunter x Hunter, Hunter versus Hunter or Hunter x Hunter, and the other one is Gintama. I did not watch those two, and I started watching Gintama. And I saw before in YouTube on YouTube that Gintama involved a lot of fights, and I like those anime with fights, sword fights, and etc. I'm really interested in those. So I was expecting Gintama to be something like a fight-based, sword fight-based, action-oriented anime. Well, it does involve some action. I watched the first 6 episodes. But what the hell? It's it has like a very interesting mix of something like a story going on per episode and something completely ridiculous happening. On one hand, it kind of reminds me a bit of One Piece, but the art style is completely different and the tone is different, the setup is completely different. It is in an alternative world where some alien race came to Japan and opened the Japan. As you know, Japan historically was a closed nation, and then it opened in the 20th century or starting maybe 19th century. Here, in this case, it is thanks to an alien race, and the alien race are like human-like creatures, but they're actually representative of some animal, like a leopard, like a dog, and a cat. And it's such a ridiculous anime. It so far does not follow a long story, like every episode except the first two are following their own adventure. Like something happens. The guy's name is Gintoki, and he basically does job for some payment, but although I didn't really see much of a payment. And there are these two other characters. One of them is like a human, but is not actually a human. It's a girl, and she's super strong and has fighting skills. And the other one is actually his sister is a dojo owner. He's kind of like a former samurai or coming from the line of samurais. So Gintoki apparently was a samurai, fought in the past, and now gave up all that fighting and realized that fighting is meaningless. So now carrying a sword is actually banned, so he carries, I think, a wooden sword, so to speak. And it is ridiculous. I'm not sure if I like it. I actually like that certain ridiculous jokes. I really like sometimes the goofy part and not taking anything serious part. On the other hand, I was hoping we would have some story going on. I think it is going to happen because Gintama has over 300 episodes. So I think that time will come. Well, there will be actually some serious parts, because when I watched some YouTube videos, there were some bloody, brutal, but also in a sense maybe ridiculously bloody or ridiculously brutal fights, or some battles are going on and such. I think it's going to come to that. Gintama reminds me a little bit of Spike from Cowboy Bebop. He was also a guy who I think was part of a gangster, for part of a gang, and he left that gang. He was kind of fulfilling a gangster life, and that he left that behind, and now he had become a bounty hunter afterwards. So he had a past, but the overall tone of Cowboy Bebop is kind of a more of a drama. There are funny parts, but they're here and there more like. Whereas the overall tone of the Gintama is actually the goofy fun, but there are some serious aspects embedded into that. So it looks like it's not really much for children, but it actually is for like Japanese culture. I like that there are like jokes about the guy is actually looking for the Shonen Jump, which is the I think the weekly manga magazine, and he reads it and he says, "Oh, I wish I could fire Getsuga Tensho." It's a reference to Bleach, um, but there are probably way more references, and I might be missing some of those because I might not have watched that Japanese show or anime. It's a very different take, um, and I wonder how it is going to branch out from these and transition into something more serious. There are several anime that can start like in a light tone and then get more serious. Even Naruto was something like that, right? Or at least with the fillers. Bleach had a lot of fillers, though Bleach was supposedly a more serious one, but it had some jokes here and there. Whereas One Piece can be ridiculous, but One Piece actually has a very established story all the time, and that ridiculousness has become now part of those segments or part of the characters that are introduced. Whereas Gintama, they turned up that ridiculousness several notches, several folds. Um, yeah, between Hunter and Hunter versus Gintama, I started with Gintama, and Gintama is, as far as I know, like pretty much finished. No new episodes will come. And Hunter x Hunter manga is ongoing. I'm not sure about the manga of Gintama. Yeah, that's the update that I wanted to say. And I was quite surprised that it had such a lightheaded, um, lightheaded storytelling. But maybe it is the thing that we need during these COVID-19 times. There are several other anime that I haven't watched, but I wasn't really ready for them. Like I didn't watch the Attack on Titan, for example. It's a very serious one, right? So I'm not really in the mood for it. So I think Gintama is the way to go for this, and yeah, I'll be following that. So this initial 6 episodes, it introduced these main characters a bit, but that the last episode, the guy who came out of prison and wanted to see his daughter's first concert had nothing to do with any of these characters really, but they still helped the guy. It was like a standalone adventure, so I'm not sure if these standalone adventures will have meaning later on, like that guy who came out of prison. Is he going to appear again, or is it just for the sake of like finishing a standalone adventure? I don't like those type of things. I want a more established story, but maybe it will get that story. Yeah, so I will give it a try and watch more episodes and might update here as well. Stay safe.